Hey guys, so welcome to another video from Betfair Trading Community.com with me, your host Martin. I've got a really good one today because what we're going to get into is something you probably haven't heard spoken about before. Now, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago I did a video talking about how to edit strategies, how to change them to make them better, and to test whether they've become better or not. But I also talked about the pitfalls of doing this too early on and tweaking data, and most importantly I stressed the importance of keeping the original data, keeping your original filter, your original strategy, and still tracking that one as well, because too many people tweak a strategy, get rid of the old one, and suddenly it's not working and they don't know why, and then they've lost the old strategy that it was based on to compare to. So today we're going to look at the results, because I did this early in the month. We're now coming up to the end of the month. It's been nearly a month on this. I've got 200 results, which is, fairly solid, probably about 10% of what I want overall on this whole strategy, but it will give us an indication of what I'm talking about today, of why it's so important to keep that original sheet. Now, what I did was I got 500 results. So I'll do a little brief talk about the first video. I got 500 results for my layaway team strategy here. Then I split the strategy up into different types of strategy, looking at different leagues to trade, removing some of the bad leagues, and also doing the same with odds, looking at what odds range was working, and then eliminating games based on that and testing that moving forward. I actually ended up with 5 sheets that I was testing, but they're all using the same base set filter. So whilst the selections will be different from sheet to sheet, the original filter will always have all of the selections in it. So basically it's just a case, even though it's 5 sheets, what I'm trying to say is it's just a case of when I get a result, I just copy and paste it into whichever sheet is relevant to have that result, because some of them will and some of them won't. Don't worry too much if you don't understand that. I know I probably haven't explained it particularly well, but what's important here is I showed you the sheet earlier, the kind of 1.0 version, and that had 500 results. It was actually £60 down. Okay, again, I know that this strategy has something in it. I knew that because of how well it had done in certain odds ranges. I wasn't too concerned about that. If I get 500 results and the results around minus 60, which is about 6 points down, obviously I'd rather that was in profit, but it's not saying I'm going to throw out at that point. I need to see more, I need to understand it more, and I need to look into it more, which is what I've done. So let's go to the actual filter. So this is the next 200 result. We've got them here. There's a few games left to play today, but I'm doing this now. So we've actually got about 195 results because the top row isn't one and there's 196 here. Okay, the profit, £10 stakes, would have been £407 if we were laying these away teams. Now, obviously that is a massive improvement on the first 500 games. Now, overall, this strategy now would be £340 up, 34 points up, which would actually be a solid return for the amount of time we've been testing it. And what's interesting here is that I think a lot of people would throw out a strategy that wasn't making money after 500 selections, and yet if they'd waited another couple hundred, they'd have been back in a very good position. This is the nature of variance of trading, okay? So if you're breaking even on something currently, unless you've got, let's say 2,000 games, 2,000 data points, I don't think it's something you should be throwing out at that point. I think it's something you can say, okay, let's see if it can pick up in the next few selections. 6.7% ROI, it's been doing very, very well. Now, bear in mind, this is the 1.0 version. This is with no tweaks. So let's have a look how the strategies with tweaks have done. So the first one is leagues plus odds. This is where I removed bad leagues, and then once the leagues were removed, I removed the games where the odds didn't match the odds range that was doing the best. And basically what you end up with here is a lot of fairly short price lays, so you're not going to get your big 6.0s that you sometimes get on 1.0. Like we've got a run here of 3 games that are above 5. You will not get that on an odds restricted one. But as you can see, the profit is massively down. Selections are down, You only got around 25% of the selections. Now, as I say, all these selections will be in this original sheet. They will still be here as well, but you just get less of them. And the problem here is it's not really paying dividends. Now, the ROI is better. And this is another thing I think people miss too much, where they go, well, yeah, but the ROI is high. That's great. I'll take the £400, please, over the 100. You see, that's the reality of it. We're looking to make the most money profitable. If I can get 200 selections at 6% ROI, I'll make a lot more money than 50 selections at 8% ROI. That's basic maths, and it's proven here. Okay, even if you don't fully understand that, just look at the P&L. Okay, this strategy has not done badly as a tweak, but the tweak was not as good as the original one so far. Now, obviously, you're going to want to get more data in this regard, but I'm going to talk a bit about why I'm not going to be testing these anymore in a second. So next one is leagues restricted. So all I've done here is remove the bad leagues. So we've still got the high odds. Yeah, £197 profit, so more profit, but actually a worse ROI. And I'll just have a quick double check here. Yeah, 6.78 to 5.22. Actually a worse ROI than the original version. Why is that? Because I think it's time to theorize a bit here. Why would it be worse? We've removed the leagues that didn't perform in the first 500 games. Well, here's the reality. There's not enough data in 500 matches for us to be removing leagues. Here's why. Let's say you trade 20 leagues, or whatever, however many leagues you trade in those 500 games. The most amount of results you're going to have is 25. If you're looking at, well, let's say that you'd have an average of 25 games per league. Okay, so 25 results for a league. That's not enough to know whether a league's profitable or not. Now, the reality is, a lot of leagues, you might only have 7, 8, 9, 10 selections. So you're removing a league based on 10 data points. Now, I've spoken to people in data science in the past couple of weeks, and I spoke to one guy in particular, because I always had that question that I wanted to ask these guys, because these guys do this professionally as well, but in a different context. And I said, how many data points do you take before you say something isn't, it can't just be chance, it has to be an authentic trend? And he said 2,000, right? So you're going to hear me talk about the 2,000 data points a lot. Well, if you've only got 25 data points in a league, it's not enough. So you're going to want to keep testing the leagues. And this is the thing. You might think, well, Martin, if there's a bad performing league, I don't want to be trading it. I'm not saying trade it. I'm saying don't remove it from your testing. I'm saying don't eliminate it yet and get more comprehensive data before you decide to do that. Now, let's say you have 25 selections and every single one is lost, or you're maybe 200 points down, or £200 down, so like 20 points down in 20 selections. Okay, maybe then you might go, I just think this league doesn't work and I'm going to get rid of it. But most of the time in this situation, the bad performing leagues are going to be like maybe 3-4 points loss. And you're talking about 2 or 3 match swings where, maybe even where one result would have ended up in profit if it had gone the other way. It might have been a dodgy referee decision. It might have been a dodgy penalty that sealed it for you. So that's the kind of margin you're working with when you're not using enough data points. And I think this is proven here. And then the next one was odds. First, I removed the games that didn't fit the right odds range. Then I looked at which leagues weren't working within that odds range. Again, £167 profit, still good, but not as good as the original. 11.66% ROI. So that's actually the highest ROI we've had. And if you're an ROI guy, you might look at this one and go, well, this is the best one so far. But again, we've got the problem of we've removed data too early. And this is kind of what I want to stress to you today, because if you remove data too early, you're going to often be removing leagues that are good or odds that are good for your range. And you're not going to know it because you've removed it and you're not tracking. And then finally, the last sheet is just odds restriction. Not worrying about leagues, £162, 8.7% ROI. None of these strategies have done as well as the original filter. Let's talk about odds, because we talked about leagues, we haven't talked about odds. Well, again, you're getting a similar problem where you're going to base your odds range. You might see a few selections, above 4.0. You might have 50 selections above 4.0 that haven't made money. That's not enough data for you to go, yeah, everything below 4.0 is bad. Okay? But that's what we've done when we did this odds range originally. Because what I wanted to show you was how you might test an odds range, how you might test the leagues. What's critical here is that I have the original filter still. So when I get the next 500 results or whatever it is, or I might even just now put this sheet with the original one now, put all these results in the original sheet, and I've got 700 results now. And we're on our way to that 2000 data point, aren't we? We're nearly halfway there. So we're at a critical juncture where we feel like this is a good place to be. But these four strategies don't need to be tested, because I don't need to remove any odds. I don't even need to look at the leagues till I get 2000 results here, and actually my testing's showing that it's not worth doing. So I really want you guys not to jump the gun on removing leagues, removing certain odds. Now, I'm not saying trade them. If they're not working for you, you don't want to trade them, you don't want to get live with your strategy yet, I really would say wait as long as you can before going live. Make sure that your data's working for you. But, I'm not saying go and back something that's unprofitable. What I'm saying is keep testing it, because it costs you nothing. This is the thing. It costs you nothing to test. And actually, the only cost you have, it takes you time. And using the software we have, I just get my selection each day, even with the odds. I don't have to go and find these odds. They come from our software, betfairtradingcommunity.com software, and then I just input them every day. All I do is write in the results, and I quite enjoy doing that because I like seeing the profit and loss. I like seeing how it's done that day. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get this combined back again, and I'll look at it again at 1000 results. I'll look at what ranges work, but I'm not going to test any other filter. I'm not going to tweak the filter at that point. I'm definitely waiting for at least 2000 results here. And look, we've had 200 results in less than a month here. Reality is we've already got 500, we've got 700. It might take us another 3-4 months before we get to 2000, but I don't mind that, because I'd rather wait to get the significant data than push something that isn't ready. And again, this is all part of it, right? Because most of it will be people being impatient, people not having discipline. The amount of people that are already betting strategies that they've only just started testing is unbelievable, because it's not good for you. It's not sound financial advice. If I said to you, right, go play on the stock market for a day, and you did a couple of things and something worked well, something didn't, and you came back to me and said, I made some money, I did this, and I went, okay, just keep doing that. Just keep trying to make money every day and invest your money how you see fit, without any knowledge, without any testing. Just go and do that. Would you say to someone, oh, that's good advice you've been given there? Or would you be ringing up, whoever it is, the FCA, and saying, look, someone's giving bad financial advice here? And that's the thing, isn't it? I'm obviously not a financial advisor, but what I'm saying is what's always worked for me. And again, this is all free. You're not investing any money to have to do this. You are testing based on what you're seeing and paper trading it. And you know what the results will be because you're recording the odds from Betfair, so they would have been odds you could take. It's very, very simple to do this. And if you get a golden goose from it, if you get a great strategy from it, then it's absolutely worth it, right? Anyway, guys, hopefully you get that. Don't tweak things too quickly. We've got a guy on the forum we called a Tinker Man, and he was known for that back in the day. He's actually got really good at creating strategies now because he doesn't tweak it every 5 minutes, and that is never the solution. Hope you have a great week, guys, and most importantly, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair.